1999, the Upper Amazon Basin, Brazil. From a small single-engine plane, a scientist named Alceo is conducting a visual survey of a region known as the Green Hell. It is the most inhospitable, dense, and untouched rainforest on Earth, a place where history, they say, never happened. Civilizations need open land. They need farmland, roads, cities. The Amazon, with its impenetrable canopy and poor soil, was supposed to be the domain of small nomadic tribes. That was the story, the only story. But on this flight, Ranzi sees something that makes no sense. A pattern. Through breaks in the canopy, he sees not the chaotic tangle of nature, but precise geometric shapes, gigantic circles, squares, and lines etched into the earth. They are massive, some over 300 meters in diameter. They look like earthworks, like foundations. His photographs cause a stir, then skepticism. They must be natural formations, tricks of the light, wishful thinking. For 8 years, the mystery lingers. Then in 2008, a new technology arrives, a tool that can see through the forest cloak, a tool that will reveal not just a few shapes, but an entire forgotten world, hiding in plain sight. This is not a story about a lost city. This is a story about a lost continent of the mind. It's about what happens when a technology lifts a veil and shows us that our map of human history is missing an entire civilization. And the most shocking discovery isn't a temple, it's a pyramid in a place where pyramids are forbidden by everything we thought we knew. The setup, the impenetrable myth. To understand the scale of this discovery, you must first understand the dogma it shattered. For over a century, the consensus among archaeologists and anthropologists was clear. The Amazon was a counterfeit paradise. Its soil, called terra preta, black earth, in patches, was fertile, but the region as a whole could not support large, sedentary populations. It was too harsh, too wild. It bred small, scattered hunter-gatherer societies. The great civilizations of the Americas were elsewhere. The Inca in the Andes, the Maya in Mesoamerica, the mound builders in North America. These were societies of stone and calendar and empire. The Amazon was their opposite. It was history's dead end, a green wall that stopped progress in its tracks. This wasn't just academic theory. It was a foundational block in our understanding of environmental limits and human societal development. The Amazon was the proof that some places on Earth were simply unconquerable by civilization. Then we learned to see in the dark. The technology, the X-ray vision. The tool was LiDAR, light detection and ranging, a revolutionary remote sensing technology. Here's how it works. A plane or drone flies over the forest, firing millions of laser pulses per second at the ground. Each pulse hits a leaf, a branch, a vine, or, if it finds a gap, the forest floor. The sensor measures the time it takes for each pulse to bounce back. A computer then strips away every return that came from the canopy. It digitally defoliates the entire rainforest. What's left is a pristine, three-dimensional map of the bare earth beneath. It is, quite literally, a view that has been impossible for 500 years, since the first European diseases swept through and the forest reclaimed its own. When researchers from the University of Exeter and Brazilian institutes finally trained LiDAR on the region Ranzi had photographed, they didn't just find a few more circles. They found a sprawling, complex, interconnected urban landscape. And at its heart, they found the structure that broke the old story in half. The scale of the rewrite. What the ruins demand. The discovery of this civilization doesn't just add a new chapter to history. It forces us to reprint the entire book with a different ending. The environmental myth shattered. The Kasarabe didn't just live in the Amazon. They engineered it. They built canals to manage water in the seasonal floods. They created the fertile terra preta soil themselves through a deliberate, sophisticated process of charcoal and waste management. They practiced agroforestry, cultivating useful trees in structured plots. They didn't adapt to the jungle. They domesticated it. The demographic explosion. Settlements this large, this organized, suggest a population in the hundreds of thousands, possibly millions in the wider region. This rewrites the pre-Columbian population estimates for the Americas upward, dramatically. the pristine Amazon encountered by Europeans wasn't pristine wilderness. It was the overgrown garden of a recently collapsed society, its people likely wiped out by old-world diseases before first contact. The urban blueprint. This was low-density, garden city urbanism. Vast ceremonial centers surrounded by dispersed residential mounds and interconnected by causeways across managed parklands. It is a unique form of tropical urbanism we never knew existed, a blueprint for living in harmony with a hyper-fertile but challenging environment. The isolated genius. The Casarabe culture developed in near-total isolation from the Andes or Mesoamerica. Their pyramids, their cosmology, their urban planning, these were independent inventions. This proves that the drive toward complex, hierarchical civilization isn't a one-off miracle. It's a latent human potential that can flower in the most unexpected places given the right conditions and knowledge. The ruins aren't just stones and earth. They are a rebuttal to the idea that environmental determinism limits human ambition. They are proof that a society can rise to greatness not by conquering nature, but by learning to converse with it on a grand, geometric scale. Aid break. Speaking of revealing hidden layers and vast unseen networks, let's talk about the foundation of your project. You're creating a documentary about this paradigm-shattering discovery. You need audio that conveys the immense living silence of the rainforest, the digital hum of LiDAR data resolving, and the profound awe of a historical truth cracking open. You need the sound of a million leaves, the ping of a laser finding soil, the collective gasp of researchers seeing a new world for the first time. But sourcing that sound without getting lost in a legal jungle of rights can be a major expedition. That's where epidemic sound comes in. Think of it as your LiDAR for audio, a massive library of high-quality, royalty-free music and sound effects. No hidden thickets of licensing, just clear, open access to thousands of tracks, from expansive, mysterious orchestral scores that feel like a vast canopy, to precise digital soundscapes of data, visualization, to the awe-inspiring ancient vibes of a discovery. Need the sound of a machete cutting through a liana? The digital whoosh of a canopy being rendered invisible? The deep, resonant tone of a story being rewritten? They've got it. Their search tools help you map the perfect sonic territory. Right now, Epidemic Sound is offering a free trial. Use the link in the description to start your own exploration. Thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this journey through the digital undergrowth. Now, back to the ground and what walking among these ruins really means. The ground truth, walking the digital map. After the LiDAR revelation, archaeologists had to do the hard, slow work of ground truthing. They went into the jungle to the GPS coordinates of the pyramids and causeways. What they found was both validating and haunting. The LiDAR was precise. The ramps were there. The pottery shards were there. The layers of construction were there. They were walking through a city that had been invisible for centuries, now precisely mapped from the air. The experience was disorienting. On the ground, it still looked like jungle, a tangle of roots and vines. But in your hand, you held a tablet showing the perfect geometry beneath your feet. You were standing in two worlds at once, the chaotic, living present, and the ordered, ghostly past. This physical confirmation turned a digital anomaly into historical fact. The Casarabe civilization was real. The unanswered questions and the race against time, the discovery raises more questions than it answers. And a race is on. What was their belief system? The pyramids suggest a powerful cosmology. What gods did they worship? What was the purpose of the central ramps? How did they govern? Was this a kingdom, a theocracy, a network of allied city-states? Why did they collapse? Was it climate change, internal strife, or, as is likely, the arrival of European pathogens that raced ahead of the explorers themselves? More urgently, these sites are under immediate threat, not from looters, the earthen mounds don't hold golden trinkets, but from industrial-scale deforestation. The Amazon is being cleared for soy and cattle at a terrifying rate. A bulldozer can erase in an afternoon a pyramid that survived 1,000 years of jungle. The technology that revealed this civilization may now be our only tool to document it before it is physically destroyed for a second time. The revelation. So what are the forbidden ruins in the Amazon? The revelation is not simply that they exist. The revelation is that the LiDAR map of the Kasarabi civilization is a mirror held up to our own arrogance. It shows us that our knowledge of history was often just a map of our own ignorance, shaded by bias and limited by the tools we dared to use. We didn't find these ruins because we looked. We found them because we finally invented a way to see. And in seeing, we discovered that one of our most fundamental stories about humanity and nature was wrong. The Amazon was not a place where civilization failed. It was a place where civilization succeeded differently. It built not with stone, but with earth and water. It built not by clearing the forest, but by weaving itself into the forest's fabric. Its monuments were not meant to scrape the sky, but to organize the land. The pyramid in the jungle is the ultimate symbol of this correction. It is proof that the human impulse to build, to organize, to reach for the divine is universal and unstoppable. It can rise in the desert, on the plateau, on the island, and yes, in the deepest, greenest heart of the world's greatest rainforest. These ruins rewrite history not by adding a footnote, but by forcing a reassessment of human potential. They tell us that the blank spaces on our historical maps are not empty. They are just waiting for the light to hit them from the right angle, and that maybe the greatest civilizations are not the ones that left the tallest piles of stone, but the ones that learned to build a world that the forest itself would agree to hide and then, reluctantly, reveal.